KRER 102.5 Emory Rains County Radio. It's John Whittaking. We're sitting down here with Senator Bob Hall. We just completed our Republican Party meeting here the 27th of February in 2021. I think I've only got 4 questions here for you, sir, and I'll give you time to elaborate on these questions as you see fit with your comments. In regards to where the Republican Party needs to go now with its constituents in Rains County and throughout the country, how do we reinvest their interest into us after some of the things and the hardship feelings that they have toward our loss, not just with the presidency, but with the way the country's being pushed into a non-Republican era in some of the issues that are coming forward, like the abortion bills and the 2A problems that we're having, trying to get our guns and things like that. And people are complaining of that. Where is the Republican leadership or Republican representatives that we have elected going with this, and how do y'all reinstill confidence in us citizens that y'all are really on our side?
Well, I think you'll find that Texas fared very well. And first of all, we can only take care of Texas. This is our job here, is to take care of Texas and make sure Texans are protected, and that we move forward with our Judeo-Christian values and our Constitution being followed. In this last election, we actually gained significantly. When you look at the voting population, we had a significant increase in the black and Hispanic support of Republicans. We had counties in Texas that in the 2016 voted for Hillary Clinton by 30%. Trump won those counties by 5%. And so we've had a significant shift of people that have the Republican Party values waking up to the fact that we represent what they believe. Probably one of the biggest promoters of people moving into the Republican Party are what the Democrats in Washington are doing as they move to the left, and that their socialist inclinations become more obvious to people, that says that doesn't fit with our values. And so while we didn't lose the big election, we did well here in Texas. We won almost every seat. Our congressional seats were won. The House, we didn't lose. We only lost 1 state senator, but other than that, we won. There were no statewide offices were lost. There were no House seats that were lost, and we had a record turnout. And there is no reason for people to not maintain confidence that the Republican Party is going to do what they want done in following what the principles are that are expressed in the platform.
Okay, the only other question I really had, you've answered the other ones that I have here. How do we help motivate other citizens, and how do we get other citizens involved into moving forward, not just sitting on the sidelines? What can we say, what can we do from your level down to my level here in Rains County? How can we get our brothers and sisters out there doing what they need to do to help the Republican Party and those agendas move forward?
We're going to have what we have in the parties in all counties need to build on itself. We need to recognize that we need to grow the party, and the only way that's going to happen is by those that are in it now working to do their part to bring other people in. As I mentioned here earlier, everybody should dedicate themselves coming back to the next meeting with at least 2 of their friends. And in those meetings, we need to have information given, information that encourages people to understand what the principles are, that we believe in life, we believe in self-defense, we believe in free markets, we believe in religious freedom. That sets us apart from the Democrats. And most people don't realize what a wide gap there is between the godless Democrat Party and what Republicans have values for. And we can only keep those values if people will participate. Government is not handed to the people. The people hand the governing responsibility to selected individuals by carefully choosing them. And we need to work on making sure that people participate more, and we give them the information they need to be able to make good decisions.
All right, sir. The last question I have, and we touched on it a little bit earlier, was rebuilding the confidence of the Republican people in the Republican members that we send forward. How are not we, if I'm not elected, how are the elected Republicans going to instill, because the term rhino gets thrown around a lot, and with people that I talk to, how are we going to instill that our Republican representatives are not going to turn into rhinos. I know we talked about vetting our representatives. How does one vet that representative to make sure he's going to be truly a Republican and not a rhino?
Well, where we are right now, you start with the folks who are in office across the state. The Republican Party set out and they have a platform. And now that platform, they came up with 8 priorities that they said, these are the most important things for us as Republicans to pass. And so every true Republican should be totally in support of every one of those 8 priorities. That's a good starting point. If someone is fighting against any one of those priorities, now I say that recognizing that there may be times when the bill has a title that matches the priority, but what's in the bill is just the opposite or detrimental to it. And so you have to be able to discern that. But you can simply start by how well does the individual support the principles of the Republican Party? Does he support a conservative budget? Does he support pro-life? We're going to have some really good pro-life bills. Does he support the Second Amendment bills? I'm going to have a bill that will prohibit the use of state funds by any law enforcement officer to enforce a federal law that is greater than a Texas law. That's a starting spot. We're going to be addressing what's becoming a national crisis in the transgender problem of eliminating surgery on minors that we currently have here. And so those are the issues that are high up. Election integrity is up. Protecting our electrical grid is high on the list of priorities. It's not one of the top 8, but it's high there. And it's gotten higher. I think if they took the vote today, it would be right up there with the reform of the executive orders, powers. And so by us doing that, and that's what you would watch for, how did they vote? Where did their votes go on these issues? And that be used, not some good talk. Don't take what I say when I come and talk to you about what I do. Look at the record. Look at the voting record. How did I vote? And hold me accountable to that and any other elected official.
Well, those are the answers that we were looking for from the people that I've spoken to. They were wanting some kind of not just reassurance, but some kind of guidance in what to look forward to and move forward to when we look at it.
And I tell you, there's some good tools out there because it's really hard to follow directly, but there are some tools out there they can use. As an example, Rice University. Professor Jones there at Rice University does an analysis. Every session does one on the House, does one on the Senate, separated, and he analyzes all the votes, doesn't pick and choose, all the votes taken by all the members, and then he ranks them from the most conservative to the most liberal. And that's a good indication of where a person is in their voting record. And then you have the areas where you have particular interest. You'll find organizations like Texas Values, they watch the religious freedom issues. And they will put out a scorecard at the end of the session ranking people on how they voted on the religious issues that came up. And I expect Gun Owners of America and NRA, they will do it. NRA does it. I think Gun Owners of America will do what did they do on Second Amendment? And you have Eagle Forum that will rank people on how they perform. Young conservatives, they look across the board from a conservative standpoint and will rank people based on their votes. Empower Texans, they are very interested in financial issues. How are your senators and representatives voting on protecting taxpayer money on financial issues? And they will provide a ranking on how well they did there. And other organizations out there. And so by making available, I've suggested that our Republican parties ought to put links to these organizations on the websites so people can readily go to them and they can determine for themselves how they feel, because they'll tell you about the bills that they picked and why they felt a yes vote or a no vote was either the right vote for that particular bill. And so that's a tool. Those are tools that if we can educate people out there of their availability and make them available to them, I think it will have a much more informed voting community.
All right, sir, we've reached the limit of the time that I have for my spots on my radio, so I'm gonna have to, thank you for your time that you've given us today. Thank you for coming out here to Rains County. Again, this is KRER 102.5, visiting here with Senator Bob Hall. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks for your service too, brother.
Oh, thank you for yours. All right.